So we have the dado blade on. This is a cross-cutting sled that has an opening for the size of our dado blade. Now we want the height of the dado blade to be a 9/16 above what this is here. And I can't lay my board in there to check that, to get that height, which is the reason why we put those heights on the edge here. Because now I can roll this in and I can set my blade height to that. So I'm going to rotate the blade back to see where I'm at presently. So I'm under my height. I want to bring it up so that my blade's coming up to that 9/16 mark. Right there. Look good? All right. So now I want to cut out right here. I want to cut out right here, and I want to cut out right here. This one I'm going to have to do afterwards. This clamp in here holds my board tight against, and it'll also pinch the boards together in the back so that we have them touching one another. We want the boards touching one another because if they're not, then we'll have an increased amount of chip out that the blade pushes back the fibers of the wood, and we don't want the chip out. And very honestly, if we were overly concerned with chip out, if I was doing only one of these, I would have a fresh piece of wood behind this so that when I cut, I would have what would be called a zero tolerance. Because right now, I'm sure that somebody had that blade above 9/16. So that means that it's going to chip out more than what I want it to be. We have to go real slow to prevent as much of that as we can, but we're not going to put a new board on here for each individual person in the class. We're just going to go slow as we make those cuts. Okay? So I'm going to set this board in. I'm going to bring it up to my blade and get it lined up with the edge of my cut. And then I'm going to clamp that in there. You're going to notice that this blade makes a little bit of a different hum too. We're removing a lot of material on this. So I want to make sure I have my vacuum on so that it really takes as much of that dust away as it possibly can. I'll also shut down some of these other areas here that are not going to be used so that I have more vacuum, suction. And we'll go ahead and make our cut. Need to turn it, need to plug it back in now first. Past my line here, this is all waste area. So we've minimized our chip out in the back side there. There's almost none. We're going in 9/16 to the depth, and now we're doing the same thing on these two. This one I have to line it up twice. dictate how much chip out is in the back side of that. So we're going slowly to make sure that we don't have that on the back. So I just have to take out that middle portion. So we have 1, 2. The last one's up at the top here that we're cutting out. And then we'll have to change our blade to make this final cut. Hardly any chip out on anything there, so it all looks good. Looks great. Okay? To make this final cut, we're going to switch back to the single blade. Now the reason is because our single blade is a 10-inch diameter blade, and our DADO blade is an 8-inch diameter blade. So we would not be able to get that high anyhow. So we're going to do it with a single blade, and it's probably going to take us about 5 passes to cut that out. So at this point, you're going to unplug the machine. You're going to return the individual blade back to it. We're going to flip, well first we're going to go ahead and set our blade height to 2 inches. Then we're going to flip our piece over top, line it up with that side. And we're going to make a series of cuts to cut that one out. All right.